milk toast. Now with your left hand, reach out and grab your nose. Say yeah, do a high five with your friend. Up high, down low, too slow, let's go.
Hey everybody, it's Rhonda from Bake Me Happy. Rhonda and Teddy, we're just sitting outside enjoying the weather. Today's video, we're going to make muffins. And I got this recipe online from Sally's Baking Addiction. And it is a basic muffin recipe that you can tweak to make all different kinds of flavored muffins, but use the recipe as your base, which is really convenient. Really easy to do. They're very delicious. I sent some muffins with my daughter to her beauty salon, and everybody loved them, so highly recommend it. Today we're making blueberry, lemon, and strawberry muffins, and hope you enjoy the video. Like, share, subscribe. Give me suggestions of things you might want to see or any suggestions of improvements I can do. So enjoy the video and let's get to it. So we're going to start out with adding a stick of butter, unsalted butter at room temperature. You'll see me adding more because I quadrupled this recipe thinking I was going to make 4 different types of muffins when I only ended up making 3, so I made extra strawberry. But for a single batch, which makes 6 jumbo cup muffins, you do 1 stick of unsalted butter, and then half a cup of granulated sugar and a 1/4 cup of packed light brown sugar. And then you're going to cream this together for about 3 minutes and keep scraping down the sides because that butter will stick to the sides. Then you're going to add 2 large eggs at room temperature. And then I added half a cup of room temperature sour cream. You can also add a half a cup of plain yogurt if you didn't want to use sour cream. Both will work. And then after I mix those and get those incorporated, I'm going to add 1½ teaspoons of vanilla paste. The recipe calls for vanilla extract, which you can use, the pure vanilla extract. I use the vanilla paste because it really brings out the flavor of my baked goods, I think, better than the vanilla extract. So I choose to use the vanilla paste. And then after you get all this incorporated, you're going to start adding the dry ingredients. The dry ingredients are 219 grams of all-purpose flour. That's 1 3/4 cups. I measure everything, the dry, because 1 cup of one type of flour is going to be different than another cup depending on how it's milled. So I get better results measuring it or weighing it out, but you can definitely measure it out. It's 1 3/4 cup or 219 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a half teaspoon of salt. And if you are making a muffin that would need cinnamon in the batter, so apple muffins and my blueberry muffins. So I'm making blueberry muffins and I'm making blueberry lemon muffins. The blueberry lemon muffins, I don't want to put cinnamon in. So I divided my dough, my batter up. And on this one in the dry ingredients, I mixed in cinnamon because this batter is going to be for my blueberry muffins. And then you're going to see me attach my little, I call it a dry ingredient sheet. I found it on Instagram. You can see it better on my last video, but it plugs right into the attachment piece of your KitchenAid, and it's got a big wide opening at the top, and you can just pour your ingredients right in and it shoots right into the bowl. It doesn't splatter everywhere. I have a metal one that's on the side, but my I keep spilling things over the side and it doesn't get into the bowl. And the one that comes with the KitchenAid, it doesn't work as it's not that big. So this works really good. Now and I never can pronounce it right, but my Anxerum mixer is really wide, so I don't even need this. I can just pour things right in because it's wide open at the top. But and I only use that when I'm doing heavy doughs. Um, but yeah, so this is a great purchase. It wasn't very expensive either. I think I saw it on Instagram. It's the one Instagram purchase that I made that I didn't get screwed on. So um, to for a topping for these muffins, you can either top them with turbinado sugar, which you'll see me do here later. You can also make an optional crumb topping, and that is a third cup of packed light brown sugar, a tablespoon of granulated sugar, a half teaspoon of ground cinnamon, or you can leave it out if you were making a recipe that really cinnamon wouldn't work with. 4 tablespoons of unsalted butter melted, and 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour. And then you would just in a medium bowl mix the sugars and the cinnamon if you're using cinnamon, and then stir in the melted butter, and then you use a fork and you gently work in the flour to make the crumb topping, and then you sprinkle it on top. You can put it in the refrigerator until you're ready to use it. I usually don't, but I didn't do a crumb topping for these today. So after I added the dry ingredients and got them all incorporated, then I added some milk, and it's a 1/4 cup of milk, any kind you can use at room temperature, and mixed it until it was all incorporated. And then I was ready to do my add-ins. So add-ins, blueberries, strawberries, apples, all kinds of, use your imagination, whatever you want to use. This ultimate muffin recipe is what it's called. It's a basic muffin recipe that you can use for all your muffins and just tweak it to different flavors based on how you want to, what you want to make. So today I made blueberry muffins, blueberry lemon muffins, and strawberry muffins. I was going to make chocolate muffins, but decided not to do that, so I'll do a video down the road on chocolate muffins. But these are great muffins. You can freeze them. You can put them in a thick freezer plastic baggie and freeze them for up to 3 months, or you can wrap them in plastic wrap and then wrap them in foil and freeze them for up to 3 months. So I did put some in the freezer so I could test it and see how they taste when you bring them out. Otherwise, you store these in an airtight container. I put these in the refrigerator just because they had fruit in them. Don't know if you need to do that or not, but I just played it safe and did that. You want to scrape down the sides a lot because the flour gets on the side, the butter gets on the side. You want to make sure all your ingredients are incorporated before you take the mixer away and start adding your add-ins. And it's a pretty thick batter. And so what I did is I prepared my blueberries. So I'm just sprinkling them with some flour and tossing them around. This is going to keep them from sinking to the bottom of your muffin and keep them all incorporated throughout. And then this was a cup and a half of blueberries. So here I was making my lemon blueberry muffins. So I added 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, fresh lemon juice, and then 3 tablespoons. No, this was 2 tablespoons of the lemon zest, and mix that. And then I'm going to fold my blueberries in. So you can add more blueberries if you want. You'll see when I do the strawberry muffins that I had a lot more batter, so I was just kind of eyeballing it. But here I'm adding. This was a cup and a half of blueberries. And I'm just going to put them in, and then I'm going to fold them in until they're all incorporated. And then I'll take my large cookie scoop and I'm going to scoop them into my muffin tins. So for my muffin tins, I have large cupcake tins, and I put large tulip parchment in them. And I will do 2 scoops in each cup. And then at the end, you have a little batter left. So I kind of evenly distributed the rest of the batter throughout. While you're doing this, you want to preheat your oven to 425. Once your oven is preheated and you get them ready to put them in the oven, you're going to put them in the oven for 5 minutes and then you'll lower the heat to 350. For the jumbo muffins, you'll want to cook them for about 20-25 minutes. Mine actually took 30 minutes, I think, because of the fruit that was in them. The smaller muffins takes about 15 to 18 minutes, but you still cook them the same way. Start out at 425 for 5 minutes and then lower the oven temperature to 350. So I got these little tulip, they're not little, they're large tulip cups that you can use for cupcakes or muffins, and got these off of Amazon. Got the tins off of Amazon because when I make my cupcakes, I like making large cupcakes. And I'm going to be putting 2 scoops in each container. And then once I get done scooping, I kind of tap it on the surface to make sure it all gets, down in there, get any air bubbles out. And then I top it with either turbinado sugar. You can top it with blueberries. You can top it with the crumb topping with the recipe I just gave you, your own streusel topping. Um, these ones, I didn't want to take the time to mix the streusel toppings, or crumb toppings, so I just used turbinado sugar for these. You're going to see me put them in the oven and then bring them back out of the oven because I forgot to put the turbinado sugar on. When I'm baking, I tend to pull out all my ingredients because I eventually miss something. And if I don't see it there in front of me, I'm going to miss putting it in. So I put all my ingredients out, have them all measured out and everything. And so here I didn't have my turbinado sugar in front of me, so I forgot to do it. So I popped them out of the oven real quick and then I covered them and then put them back in the oven. This batter is really easy to make, and like I said, you can do so many different kinds of muffins just having this one basic batter recipe. Here I'm preparing my strawberries for my strawberry muffins. I'm coating them in flour so they don't sink to the bottom. When I made these over the weekend, I made the strawberries too small, diced them too small, thinking that they wouldn't cook, that my batter would be real runny because, strawberries are a little watery. But you could barely taste the strawberries in there. So this time I just diced them larger and they turned out fine. They baked up fine, and you got more of a strawberry flavor. So there's my batter. It's a little bit more than the batter I had for the other muffins. So here I'm just going to eyeball it and not measure out the strawberries. I think I had like 2 cups here. And I probably used about a cup and a half because these were larger than the blueberries. And I incorporated them and, add a little more if I need to, but just fold them on in. And then I put some to the side because I sprinkled the tops with more strawberries after I got them in the cups. So I made 2 different kinds of strawberry muffins. The first batch I did, I sprinkled with freeze-dried strawberries. Freeze-dried strawberries are great, and the ones I have are little nuggets, tiny nuggets, and work great. I sprinkled them on top. I didn't even put any turbinado sugar with them because they are sweet, but they really give you a good strawberry enhancement flavor, or enhanced strawberry flavor. And then the second batch of strawberry muffins, I sprinkled the strawberries on top. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to put 2 scoops in each cup, and then any extra batter I have, I just kind of evenly distribute it through all of them. You can do this without these muffin liners. You can just do them straight in the tins. Just spray it with some vegetable spray, nonstick spray, and do it that way if you want. It's just so much easier to do it this way because they pull right out and keeps everything clean. These will bake the same way, 425 for 5 minutes, and then lower the oven temperature to 350. And for the jumbo muffins, again, it's going to be about 25-30 minutes. I start checking them about 20 minutes just to make sure I'm not overcooking. I have a gas oven, so it's, a crapshoot of whether or not it's going to overcook or not. Love my gas oven. Just sometimes I just keep an eye on it when I'm doing baked stuff. Tapping it to make sure everything, and there's no air bubbles in it, that it all gets all incorporated and doesn't have just two balls of batter that they kind of mix together. Here I'm just getting the little bit of extra and distributing it through all of the muffins. You can definitely add more scoops if you want to get a higher muffin. These make a pretty large muffin just doing the 2 scoops. And here I am sprinkling the, what did I do here? Was it turbinado sugar? I guess I'm sprinkling this with turbinado sugar. Oh, I did put freeze-dried strawberries with it. Didn't taste overly sweet, so I guess I did put them both together. But here got these off of Amazon. You can eat these right out of the jar. They're so good. Put them on cereal. Put them in yogurt. I put them in my strawberry vodka. It just really enhances the flavor. Don't just use that. I had like strawberry jam in the vodka, but this really gave you an extra oomph of strawberry flavor. So I'm just sprinkling these on top, and then we'll pop these in the oven. And then I'm getting ready to show you where I just sprinkled the tops with strawberries. And after you sprinkle them with strawberries, push them down a little bit so they're in the batter so they kind of incorporate with the muffin when they're baking. They don't burn on top. They're really good this way too. With these ones, I make a vanilla bean glaze, and all it is powdered sugar and heavy cream, or you can use milk, and I mix it until it's the consistency I like it. I add vanilla bean paste to it, get it all incorporated, put it in a tiny little piping bag, and then I make a little, grid on top once they cool off. If you do it when they're too hot, it's just going to melt. You won't see the design. And then these go in the oven, same temperature, 425 for 5 minutes, and then another 25-30 minutes at 350. If you're doing smaller muffins, you don't have to keep them in that long. It would be same temperatures, but for like 15 to 16 minutes. And then here I'm going to pop out the blueberry muffins so you can see what they look like after they're baked. And then here's a shot of all the muffins that I did. So bottom left are the strawberry with the strawberry on top with the glazed grid on top. And then you've got the blueberry lemon, and then the strawberry with the sprinkled freeze-dried strawberries on top. So I appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, and share. Um, and we'll catch you on the next one.